Thank you guys all for coming to the third installment of the CFM and Foodwell Alliance Vendor Growth Program class series. We are super excited to have Melonie Tharpe, the Director of Programs for the Georgia Center for Civic Innovation, here today to teach the class why you should buy my stuff, communicating the value of your product. So, with no further ado.
So this is a class that we run, like a full day session of this at Center for Civic Innovation. We work a lot with what we term social entrepreneurs, so people who have kind of businesses or new ideas for how to solve problems and social challenges in their communities. So it can be, we've had anyone from farmers who are looking at food access to people who are former teachers who are looking at creating better technologies and programs for the classroom. So it's really kind of an interactive workshop to help you think through some key things that are kind of essential for telling your story. So the first thing I want to do is have everybody take just 2 minutes to think really deeply about kind of why you do what you do. So what really drives you to be in this business? What really drives you to offer what it is you have to offer? And kind of just take 2 minutes to think about it, write it out. And then we're going to share with each other. So why do you do what you do, and what really drives you to do this work? So I'm going to take a minute to, passion is kind of what drives, I think, a lot of folks. Well, I know it drives almost everyone probably in this room. And so take a minute to have everyone kind of share why it is that you do what you do.
The first word was passion for baking, and also for the science behind it. And the last one is just to keep the lights on at home.
Community, for sure. Everybody, instead of just like connecting people from over here, it's the people close to you, and you guys are cracking this for the people around you because you see a problem.
I like what you said about passion, because I feel like it's the root of life. If you don't have anything you're passionate about, you're living a pretty dull life.
I like the control aspect of, manning your own rocket ship, and the sky's the limit.
Not long after we opened, I read an article, it was an interview with Alton Brown, and he said, I'll go ahead and tell y'all, this is the first thing I thought when I saw that question. So he said, in order to be a really good Southerner, you have to be a little batshit crazy. Yes. I really felt called to do it.
I want showing respect for like each member of the value chain, and like that connection between them.
And I'm a free spirit. I like to be my own boss.
The reason I really want to be a farmer is better for the community, and just having that in the community, just like you said, a baker that does the gluten-free thing, somebody making an apron. The farmer is important, somewhere that somebody can go and actually see where their food is grown.
I mean, ultimately, things that I really love about my job is that I get to be dirty all the time. It's like a badge of honor. I was dirty before I farmed, and it wasn't thought of as such a cool thing. And now it's like, it's just like it's a great form of self-expression.
I do what I do because I want to share health and wellness with my community.
I always just kind of get a good sense of badassery from your therapist.
That's a nice new descriptor to add to your
I realized my journey could be summed up into like 5-6 words. So trash, economics, MBA, local food systems, pesto. That's like my journey over the last decade.
So what really drives me is the fact that I'm offering the alternative.
As you craft how you want to talk to people, really remembering what you're passionate about and kind of what drives you to be here. So the next thing we want to do is kind of thinking through who are your actual customers. So who is it you can pick? Because I think some people probably have different types of groups they want to be looking at as customers, but I want you to think about who, for the class today, who do you want to be selling to? So is it, you can pick people at the market, you can pick a big business, whoever you want to be selling to. So just write down who that customer is for you. the best way to kind of, to be able to speak to your customers, to empathize with them, and to really understand kind of where are they coming from, and what are they seeking to do. So we're going to do something called journey mapping, which is like a fun exercise. Everyone gets to draw, which is really great because I know everyone loves drawing so much. But really you're thinking of who's my customer and what are they usually trying to get. So in this case, this is Bob, he's our customer today. He really wants to get coffee. So you have to kind of think like what happens. So Bob is at the office, he's really interested in going to get a cup of coffee. So what might happen first? So, all right, Bob has made it up. What happens? So,
Bob decided what kind of coffee you want.
oh man, he has to
Like
decide.
cup of coffee or the caffeine, or you want some flavor, or iced coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's tons of decisions. Bob has to get up and then he has to think, what kind of coffee do I want?
Is he gonna go to the break room, or is he gonna go down the street to Starbucks, or the indie shop that opened up a block away?
Okay, so we'll make this the evil Starbucks empire. That's when we get Starbucks at all, but it was evil with these horns. Then there's like the nice little other coffee shop man. It's really ugly, stick hands now. Or there's like the sad break room coffee. Okay, so now we know Bob doesn't just get a cup of coffee. He has to get up. This is his wait message. He has to think about what kind of coffee does he want. There's a lot of choices. We'll kind of pick some coffee for Bob. Let's pick it.
It's from the indie shop.
Indie shop. Great. How does Bob get to the indie shop?
Well,
Alright, so he's walking. Where might he be walking to? What happens on this walk? Is it the outside? Is it the inside? Is it hot? Is it cold?
Probably have to walk down the street or something, right?
you probably had to go on an elevator first,
Oh, okay. I don't know.
and then you have to decide whether to say hi to this surly security guard.
Okay, so there's a big meat. Grumpy security guard. He has to walk pretty far. Okay, so now he's at, let's say he's at the indie coffee shop. So then what happens? What does he do in the coffee shop?
Wait.
Man, this is a lot. I heard look at a menu, so maybe there's a menu up here. I haven't seen anything at Starbucks, so there's a million choices. I don't know what menus they need. So, the reason we do journey maps is to understand that our customers have a lot of stuff to think about before they actually get to our product. And in this case, what if I was a coffee entrepreneur? So I want to just I look at this and say, man, that sucks. That's a crappy coffee experience. I'm going to do something totally different to help Bob. Where are places I can help Bob to make his coffee experience better? Whatever this is.
You could stock the breaker with your coffee brand.
Okay. So sad cup of coffee could get better. I could put coffee in there.
You do like a coffee catering, right to a coffee, every afternoon bring coffee.
So I could set a thing where I actually bring the coffee to Bob.
Hire more people at the counter so that they want.
Oh, so we can just get rid of these all together, and then it's quicker.
You could have an app where Bob can get and pay for his coffee, so when he walks in, he can just go pick it up at the counter. And it's done.
Nice. Put that lots up there. So this is what we're getting ready to do. Is you guys are going to think about your normal customer and what is their usual experience for trying to get the type of thing that you sell. So you sell food. How do people normally get food? Not your food, but just in general, what is someone's experience? You sell kind of a luxury item or something a little bit different. What does the normal experience look like? So kind of think through. You have to draw it out. It's really fun to draw. Your version of Bob, so your customer, and what it is they're actually trying to get to, and what does that experience look like. So now I want you to look at the map of your customer and their normal experience getting the types of things that you offer. And look at their journey and see where does your product actually intervene. So where are places that, much like we did with Bob and his coffee, and we said, this is a problem because this is a really terrible coffee experience. We look for places where we can make Bob's life better by intervening and adding a new product or service. So think about on this journey, where does your product or service actually intervene and make your customer's life been easier?
I was trying to think about like what my product was, and that was a little bit challenging because it's not just food, right? It's like food, it's me, like I'm a part of the product, like being a farmer, that this, you know, does direct to consumer sales, and then like the land is like another, like the actual farm is another product. So it gets kind of hard to like sell that whole package everywhere you are. And most of my customers, I think, or my would-be customers, all want to make all those connections, but their schedules are limited. Like time's like the big limitation. So, you know, like the sort of like the solutions, I guess, that we would have is that we create like our customers, we connect with them one of two ways. Like we either create an event, which is the CSA pickup that we have at the farm, which is in town. You can come to the farm, you can bring your kids to the farm. You can, you know, you get that experience. So like, you know, whether you need it personally or whether it's like another way to enrich your kids' lives, like you could do it. And it's like you can come, there's a place to go to, a destination that's like an event. And then like we meet at like folks at common gathering spaces too. So like the farmers market's a great common gathering space. But we also work with like a faith-based organization to sort of meet folks where they already are gathered anyway. These are just different ways to overcome time and busy schedules, and sort of make it like a routine part of their day-to-day lives.
So your value statement is really that you guys are more convenient than the alternative, which is either groceries at the grocery store.
We can schedule your
Has its own problems, or growing your own vegetables, in which case I have to get really dirty, and so you are getting dirty for the rest of us.
Oh, and there's another
And you're
time
loving
issue
it
right
too.
there,
Yeah,
right?
loving
On your own vegetables.
That was a great line. I think you write that down.
What's that?
Just these dirty and loving it t-shirts.
We can schedule your comments.
Okay, so journey mapping is something that you can do often, and I do recommend it. It's one, it's a good way to understand your customer and kind of where they're coming from, what it is they're trying to achieve, and like places where you can, where you already have products and service that meet their needs and kind of hit on one of their problems, and then you can really think through how are you selling to their problem. So their problem is convenience. How are you actually selling to that? If their problem is, you know, the thing that they want is really, really far away and requires a road trip, how are you selling to that? So kind of being able to identify what is it that they are really looking for and how are you meeting that need. It's also a really good tool to find new opportunities to do different types of sales or a better customer experience. So like we had someone who said, oh, I should really be putting samples out, so walking through how your customer is interacting with you as well. So thinking through a potential customer and kind of what they're doing now, but then also thinking through what is your actual customer doing now. How can you kind of be better selling to them? And so thinking through what is an experience of a customer who's currently coming to your booth and kind of drawing that out as well. And thinking about how are they finding you, you know, what does the market look like? How are you interacting with them? What does it look like when you walk up to the booth? And thinking about all the parts that actually go into building a really nice presence. So that one, the customer finds you and actually gets to your booth. And then two, how are you, you know, what is their experience when they get there? One thing we do is sometimes have people do mock customer experiences. So it's a good homework to get some friends or family members who maybe haven't come to your market booth before to actually come and be like a little bit of a secret shopper. Walk through the experience and give you feedback on stuff, because they'll really be able to pick up on just kind of the look and feel of your booth and kind of how you're selling things to folks, and then also what your pitch is to people. And so they'll be able to give you some very truthful feedback on what works really well and what doesn't. They know you best, so they'll be able to say it in a way that either really perks you up or doesn't hurt your feelings too bad, hopefully. So the next thing I want to do is kind of think through, so everybody now has, thinking back to that personal story, is like, why are you so passionate about this? Then also kind of thinking through what is the problem you're really helping your customer solve. So what problems did you identify in potential customers' kind of journey and what it is they're currently doing? So what is the problem they're solving? So I want everyone to take just a few minutes to write out a statement that we'll share. So you will say your name. You will say the name of your business. And then I want you to give a problem statement. So I solved the problem of whatever it is for whoever my customer is, and I solve it by offering X, Y, and Z, so depending on how many things you offer. So you really want to think about your name, because everyone likes to know your name, name of your business, and then think about, I solve the problem of blank for blank, which is the type of customer that you work with most often, and then I offer X, Y, and Z, which whatever products that you offer, experiences that you offer, which actually solve that problem for your customer.
So I'm Lawrence from Flour Union Bakery, and I solve the problem of creating reasonably priced, great tasting baked goods without using gluten for anyone who has a gluten intolerance or anyone looking for great tasting baked goods.
What do you offer for your couple of products?
So we offer one of our signature baked goods is called a Duffy. It's a mini donut muffin, and it's gluten-free, and it's rolled in cinnamon and sugar. We are going to have this week a lemon festival, so we're going to be focusing on lemon. So we're going to have lemon squares, lemon cloud cookies, lemon cornmeal cake. And then we also specialize in cakes to order. So we do special orders for carrot cakes, for red velvet cake, and we do them either gluten-free or gluten-full.
What worked about this problem statement? What you guys like?
You can have a very clear idea of what the issue is and how it is solved. Sometimes it can be a little bit confusing to exactly pinpoint what it is that you're solving for your customer. Because then you've got a product that you're like, what exactly is the issue here? But you really got it.
And also realizing that a lot of people are capitalizing in gluten-free right now, probably charging them too much money for things and trying to keep it economical, so they're not feeling like they have it, but they're getting covered just for having
We figured out it doesn't cost any more to make it gluten-free than it does to make it regularly, so we don't want to upcharge people just because it's gluten-free.
Power. And then like we just had like a couple of just straight up products. You were like, these are the things we have to try.
Yeah, having products that you can really push people towards, because they're your best products, your favorite products, really good.
Well, it also helps, like, first we just called them mini donut muffins, now we started calling them Duffys, so everyone now comes up and says they want a bag of Duffys. So when you're just giving something a name, people just sort of gravitate to that name, and it makes it more special.
Awesome.
So looking at the journey of your customer, like how they're actually getting to your booth, you start to think through, have you created any barriers for them where they actually like don't find it as approachable or won't recognize like, I should speak to you or I shouldn't actually be here, I should want to interact with it, and so kind of walking back through that and thinking, are there words that create barriers, or are there images or kind of other things, or that, some people at market don't have anything, and so like on their booth, and so is that actually a barrier that it's too clean and like too open? So just thinking through, the reason why I figured all these exercises tonight was kind of thinking through like how do you take the passion that drives you and turn it into something your customers can really relate to. So how do you, pair your personal experience with your product and service, and like how you got to your product and service with what other people are really experiencing as a customer, and be able to look for like the language that kind of drives them together. So, people who are coming to market really want to know what makes your product unique and why should their money be spent at your booth instead of someone else's. So what does your product really do for them that others can't? And why are, on a different level, like why are you as a person in business really great? Like number one, when people get to markets, like that's the number one reason they're there is because they actually get to buy from you guys and not from the grocery store, which has no faces at all, except for the nice friendly cashier folks, I guess. And so knowing that, you guys are at a little bit of an advantage if you're selling at markets because people are already there, and so they're already taking step one of like, I want to meet you. And so it's, your job as a business to get them the rest of the way, and so to really look at how can you connect with them best, and kind of how can you meet them where they are, and kind of think through their journey to getting to the market and their journey for interacting with your product, and how can you talk about it in a way that makes a lot of sense to them. On the other side, you know, if you are looking at kind of investors and other folks who may be interested in your business, you know, really looking at, they want to know about market potential. So being able to really describe the customers you see every day at market in a way that makes sense to them, and kind of, you can use a lot of the same tools that we talked about tonight, but they want to know your passion story, but then they want to know how many people are you attracting with that passion story. So being able to really flip the script of, you know, I have a really awesome passion. I came from a great place. I make this amazing product, and I have X number of customers every year who really come to me seeking out this product because it is really unique and really awesome. Does everyone feel like they got a little bit of something out of this? Like they walked away with a little bit better understanding of how to think through? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you identify, what are some good tips for how do you identify your customers? I'm kind of surprised about my customers. My customers are kind of a little different than what I thought. So how do you gauge that? I'm saying that off of intuition.
Yeah.
And
I mean, so one easy or interesting way to do is like you can actually just do some customer outreach. So with folks who are already your customers, you know a lot about them because they come and they shop with you, but why do they shop with you and how do they get there? To identify like a pattern. So is it you ended up with like 3 or 4 of the same type of people and they all have a really similar story of I bought jam at the store and it was disgusting, and so then I went online and I found you guys. Kind of what pulls them together. I think too, like trying to identify new customers is really looking at that problem area. So what problem do you solve, and then you can think through what other types of people also have that problem. So if it's, you know, if it's people don't have a lot of time, and so I'm a convenience option, what other types of people, aside from the one you just described, need that convenience? Or even what other types of businesses might like the convenience of what you offer? So really look at kind of what problem you're solving and kind of expand out from there on who else fits that pattern, or who else can benefit from that.
do you do this by surveys or?
So you can do surveys. Customer interviews are really helpful too. Kind of just, particularly I think a lot of people have email lists. So if you have email lists, trying to get customers to be willing to just grab a cup of coffee with you, or even over the phone, but sitting down and kind of getting them to tell you what they really like about your product and service, and kind of why they found you or sought you out or keep using you, is really the best validation you can get. Because one, using kind of the content they give you, as quotes on your website or on your business cards is really nice, but two, like they usually have insights that you don't have yourself. They can give you new leads on who you should be looking at as customers, but also kind of parts of your customer experience you might not know about, but could easily kind of beef up because that's the part they like the most.
How do you get to do a customer interview? I do that if they're the store, the market, you know, you have feedback there. But
Yeah, I mean, I think, so in the store is always really easy because they're already there. But we've done stuff before, you know, as an organization, we've done stuff before where we send out an email and then ask people to respond if they are interested in us having a cup of coffee with them or us giving them a call. And it's really surprising how many people will self-select, like if they have time enough, that people like to talk to you about your stuff, which is interesting. Other questions?
This is like super logistical, kind of nerdy. I don't know if it's called CRM, but like for contact management, what are like the programs that y'all are using, those software platforms?
We're using like MailChimp.
Yeah.
No, I think it's sorry, but yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty robust on the back.
Yeah, we use MailChimp.
Probably.
They're local too, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, one of your customers works there too, and they help you troubleshoot.
That.
Yeah, they have a lot of, they say they add like some backend stuff where people can let like preferences and things and stuff, so.
Yeah.
I know content management is good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I think of a lot of small business.
Cool, thank you.
I think a lot of people use Salesforce. It's a beast on the back end, and so unless you 1,000 customers that you want to interact with and survey often, I would not use it.
Yeah, I was thinking Salesforce is a larger solution, but are they trying to hit small business more too?
They have some like small business and nonprofit like free versions, and
Yeah.
it's just all
Yeah.
still.
Not really, it's working that world as well, so.
Do you want to ask what CCI? I mean, I could tell in my email probably.
So we use Motion.
Yeah,
Yeah, we like them a lot.
they look good. They're good emails.
And they're very easy to put together.
And it's free until you reach a certain amount of users.
Yeah. Very helpful. It is
Thank
free.
you.
Not free for us.
What's the subscriber limit on that now for the free?
It's 1,200.
It's only 1,200?
Or you can just open a bunch of different accounts.
That's so much fun to manage.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to manage. No mistakes would happen if you did that ever.
I'm not ready to jet, everybody.
Awesome. Thank
Could I
you.
actually ask one last really weird question? Like, what's the thing you definitely don't say to people at the farmer's market?
Man, this was a pain in the ass to manage.
You just asked me 20 questions, you're not going to buy anything.
Oh, you're gonna take your sample and then not even give me anything?
Exactly.
You're gonna have your kids come take my samples too?
I don't care if you can get it cheaper at Costco. I have another whole book I can write about wetness.
They basically all the great ideas for what you should be doing.
Oh, yeah, that's my favorite.
But have you ever thought of this, it's really complicated and impossible, and just say, that's a great idea. Thank you so much.
I've never shopped with you and said, you know, I would
So
buy
first tell
something if you
them
did this.
no. They don't. Because if you do, then they want to tell you why they're right.
Right.
But on the flip side of that, I think the thing that I always tell people who are like new in markets or, you know, when just talking about working in that is like, it's the one job where like what you do, you're selling your product and you're doing your thing, but you are representing every person in this room and the local food movement and probably some dude in Montana who's got an organic farm. Because if one person comes to the market and thinks you were a jerk, then they're gonna be like, I hate going to farmers markets, everyone's such a snob. And it's just, the expectation is really high. I think people still have this barrier, they want it to be touchy-feely, they want everyone to be happy, you know. They're like, oh wow, you schlepped all this stuff here, but they don't really know that you got 14 bruises while you did it and you were almost late, you know. And they don't want the ugly part, and you have to really be like 3 times nicer than you have to be in any other business because it affects markets in general.
It really is true. That's the reason why you take the time to go to the market.
Yeah.
And don't have to deal with the catty cashier at Kroger.
I like my
Responds to you when you say good morning.
Yeah, everyone knows someone who has a really negative view of like the local food scene or whatever because they had one weird experience or something they thought was negative or they didn't feel welcome or something. So it's just realize it's all symbiotic connected. It's interdependent, whatever.
Yeah, I think people idealize the market,
Yeah.
and so they think we're all happy. Berries, you know.
But it was the best day. Yes, it's 98 degrees out here.
Yeah.
I'm fantastic.
So you just have to, put your game face on, and,
Yeah.
you know, but then but I've showed up I remember one rainy morning, I showed up at Grant Park and I was in this foul mood. But then you get there and everybody's so nice at the market and then they lift your spirits. And so by the time the market opens, you're all in a really good mood. And everybody helps each other.
Probably bad mouthing each other. So I haven't experienced this at markets, but we, with our entrepreneurs, have had folks that, because they also work in like a cohort model, and we say like, what you represents all of you, and so making sure you just, it's fine behind closed doors, be like, look, we need to deal with someone who isn't playing fair, but airing grievances in public, it really like sours, I think you're saying like the whole market experience, like if you guys are seen as like a unit and like a, you know, it's a store, I go to this giant open store with all the people. So, similarly, we tell our entrepreneurs, like, you guys are a unit, and you're here together, and we're presenting you together, and so, in public, if one person badmouths another person, it becomes like a thing that people are like, oh, the whole group is catty, or the whole group has that problem, whereas, it's kind of like a unified front, so I think it's a little bit of that is the game you play when you join a community like a market is, like trying to put, the best face forward for the whole community.
And they get really connected, and people will come up and be like, oh, well, this one person used to sell here. Where'd he go? We heard blah, blah, blah might have happened. Like, I don't touch that. And like that, I can't really comment on that. I don't know enough about their business, but people will dig because they want the gossip, and like, nope,
Market gossip.
not doing it.
You did that when I asked you about the dog policy,
I did. I didn't even want to
but you skated over it perfectly. I was like, what? Why wouldn't they have dogs at the market? And I forget exactly what you said, but like you didn't hint at all that like it was anything nasty. You were just like, oh, it's an administrative decision. So I was just like, oh, okay.
But if it was important at this time, it's being assessed.
It's really good to cross promote, like, you have pesto and say, ours is this great bread, and this is really good with it, or Joe has this great, I get my kale for the pesto from Joe, he's right down there, and I go, oh, wow. It's really,
Totally.
love it over some farm support, it's really good.
Exactly. It's just what
Or Valerie would be saying that,
here's your couch out.
we make burgers,
Well, it's tough to keep in mind when you're trying to get more than sales sometimes. You might be doing a future sale or some brand loyalty or just somebody that like physically recognizes you and knows you're a nice person to come and talk to you when they have a question. It's hard to like keep that all in mind when you're like that, but it does build a quick season. I think you get to see the progress.
Start your email list.
Yeah.
Because if they feel bad, like just saying it's long term, so if they feel bad, you're like, I did it nice. Then you say, would you like to get our email list? Well, I know I didn't buy anything, but I'll get your email
Yes.
list. So they feel like they owe you that, kind of. And then that's really great.
And 1,000 people will ask you, are you here every week? So the thing not to say is not if you don't buy anything. Even though you want to say it at times. I think that's the number one thing not to say in the market.
Turn into an improv game. Yes.
Don't say that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You'll want to.
Really, really helpful. Appreciate it.
Maybe 3 times you'll want to.
Well, on that note, class is dismissed.
Thank you, Melonie.
They have to be
Thank you,
helped, but-
Melonie.
Thank you so much.